want them to want us still. And, we want to cultivate a different, it's not what I say goes. It's tell me what's going on. Tell me your day. My son every night asks me, Mom, how was your day? And we have this open conversation about our days. And I'm hoping that we'll foster that relationship like you're talking about is still having, like, call me up. How's your day? How's your
Absolutely.
day?
And they need to feel safe to talk with you
Yeah.
because life is not that linear path up. It's ups and downs
Oh
and
yeah.
swirls and flips and they need safe people to feel, to open up to. And yes, friends, therapists, other mentors, but that parenting aspect to treatment is so critical. So as individuals are overcoming this, you still are there in their life to kind of booster them, be a support. So although that like brief, off topic isn't necessarily directly connected to life after SM. It really is in some ways. I want our families that are listening to this to realize this isn't just go navigate, you're done, and kind of have this completely righteous way about everything. It's open up and be open so that when they do have some of these challenges, you're supportive continuously. I do
Yep.
notice that sometimes this is something, believe it or not, you really have to work on in treatment with parents is to help give them those skills that they
Hmm.
they don't know what to do sometimes. They
Hmm.
think they have to be perfect and actually imperfect is perfect.
And I think too, as a parent, we don't have to solve all their problems. And that's what
No,
I had been doing for so long. It's like, oh, this is
no,
a problem. I'll fix it. But now it's
no.
like, wow, yeah, you're right. That is tough. And just sit there with it and not like, oh, well, you should have done this. It's like, oh, yeah, that is hard. Like, I can definitely see why you're feeling that way and having that validation. So that's been a change that I've had to make these past couple of years, is that I don't have to solve all of her problems. She can have them, and that's okay. And again, modeling how I solve my problems so
Yeah.
that she can see that in herself.
No, I love this, and this is why treating the whole person is so important because helping build confidence and independence is critical. And you know, I can think of an 8-week independence workshop of this week we're working on this and that next week. And the reason I'm mentioning it is like decision making. Like how often as parents, do you hear from your clients, your patients, like they should do this, you need to do that, you have to do this. No, stop with the you need to and the you shoulds. It's, hey, let's work on this and have them help make decisions. You don't make them for them. You don't fix everything. In order for them to become this independent post SM thriving social confident social communicator, they need to have independence. They need to have that confidence to be able to tackle life's challenges. So it's not just overcome SM and find a voice, it's how are you using your voice? How are you navigating the social world? How
Hmm.
are you advocating for yourself? How are you starting a conversation with confidence and knowing who to talk to and when? And that's what you have to teach them. But that always comes down to
Yeah.
confidence, independence, self assurance, all of those things, right? I feel like it's like we're motivational speakers right now, Kelly.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I think the other part of that too is getting them excited to tell the parents. Like the story I
Yes.
shared with my daughter doing the news, she didn't have to tell me that, but she wanted to because she knew that I would be excited with her. And that as a parent is everything. Like you said, just like having them be open to share with us instead of getting the I don't knows and doesn't matters. It's that, wow, way to go. That is amazing. And that I get goosebumps just thinking about it because that is what we all want for our kids, and fostering that is so important.
And if I were
Mhm.
to like kind of piggyback off what you just said, is let them tell you without saying to them. So for our listeners, kind of
Mhm.
a goal for you as parents is when you hear these like leaps, these it like progress, when you hear that they raised their hand or they went up to a friend or they wrote a note or they answered a question, accept it. Be happy. You must have been
Mhm.
comfortable. That's awesome. Avoid saying to them in that moment, well, now that you did this, why
Mhm.
don't you go and do that? Because what happens with that statement is they feel a bit shamed. They feel like, wait, that wasn't good enough. And then they become less willing to open up to you in the future because they don't want to hear, why don't you do this? They're sharing with you, look what I just did without you necessarily jumping up and down and doing flips, but they're testing the waters in the beginning to see how you react. So what I tell parents all the time is Try and resist the next steps. Just accept it, read the room, and just go with it. Don't feed it. Don't keep dwelling on it. Just go with them. Just be
Yep.
there with them. Just sit with that.
Yep.
Accept them and be happy for what they're sharing, not what you need to do now. Well, if you do this tomorrow and you go up to your teacher and you ask her this, and well, now that you raised your hand in this class, well, you're going to do it in music tomorrow? Like, no,
Yep.
stop because that does not work. Not in that moment. It only brings them to a point of like the air out of the balloon. They're like, oh, I guess that wasn't good enough. And that leads to fear of positive evaluation. If I do this now, what are you going to expect of me? And that creates avoidance and that creates more anxiety and lack of confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, parents have the best intentions doing
Yeah, of
that, but now
course.
recognizing that. And I'll often tell my teen clients, how do you want your parents to react? Like if you do I have a teen client who is in theater now and he got a big part in a play. I'm like, well, how do you want them to react? It's like, I just want them to say that they're proud, like, great job, and leave it at that. Like, we don't need any comments after, of things in the future that maybe now they have to work towards. It's, yeah, just accepting that moment. I mean, wow, that's amazing.
I really like you.
I like you too.
I just do, like, even when we sat together at SMA, I just, like, felt this instant connection to you. I think we have a lot of similarities in how we raise our children, but how we see patients, and you don't focus just on speaking. Of course, a goal is to become a confident social communicator, but it's all of these other aspects that have to
Mhm.
come together for that person to become a confident social
Yep,
communicator.
yep.
And so
So
much is parent education, and so much is it helping with personal empowerment and independence and confidence building, and really seeing what is going on with this family that may be affecting this individual's anxiety and
right.
avoidance. And
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
yeah. And so I see that similarity with both of us because so often when I consult with professionals, on a consultation basis, I'll hear them just focus on talking, 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 and they need to talk. And how do I get them to talk? And I heard them talk, like, it's all they talk about is talking.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, pull back. Like, I don't understand anything about this individual yet, other than everything you're telling me about talking.
Mhm.
And that is just like one aspect to that person.
Yep,
And when you really work on that whole person, and that's the family as well, and you understand it, it's amazing how it all works together.
yep, yep, absolutely. Yep, and then pair that with understanding anxiety and their common interests. And, that's why, like I said, you go to a professional so they know kind of to look at that big picture. Who is this individual? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What gets them up in the morning? What motivates them? What All of these things are so, so important. And going back again to my client who's now in theater, nobody knew that he liked theater until we asked, like, hey, what would you be interested in? And via sharing my screen and having them pull things over to communicate in a Linuet board, we found the ways to do that. So we don't have to talk to get to know these kiddos. We don't, have to focus on that right away. And just getting to know them, having that relationship, building that rapport, so foundational. Get them to where they need to be these confident people in their everyday environment.